Welcome back to Behind the Headlines. Medical and recreational marijuana sales in Missouri have eclipsed $2.5 billion. In Arkansas, medical marijuana is worth $1 billion in sales so far. And there is a tax on all of that. Here in Springfield, half of the dispensaries did not report the 3% sales tax that went into effect this year. Ryan Collins with the Springfield Daily Citizen's business reporter is here to talk about all this and more. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. First, how many dispensaries inside the city limits? How many are there, and who did not report?
Well, so right now there's 10 dispensaries inside the city limits that should have been starting to report that 3% sales tax that went into effect at the beginning of this year. So far, it's the number of dispensaries that hasn't reported that 3% has actually been climbing month by month. In January, there were 3. In February, there were 4, and in March, there were 5. So 50% in March have not reported that 3% figure.
So what is the total tax on marijuana in Missouri if you add in the local sales tax?
Sure. So that local 3% was passed last August, went into effect January 1st this year. That 3% is paid in addition to the state 6% tax and the total base sales tax rate of 8.1% as well. Now, there's some confusion of this right now because there's this question whether or not counties can stack taxes on top of cities. That's playing out in the courts. We'll see how that kind of shakes out in the next year.
So does that account for, shall we say, the confusion in the business offices of these dispensaries?
Well, that's definitely part of it.
Okay,
right
we're
now.
going to wait till you sort this out.
This new 3% tax that went into effect, it actually has to be reported to the Department of Revenue separate from any of the other taxes. And I think there's been some confusion on how they actually report that, and there's been some confusion on how the Missouri Department of Revenue follows that.
Okay. So, as we've noted in the introduction, this is a lot of money being spent on marijuana. Where does the revenue go that is earmarked, and what for?
Yeah, so right now, through March, there's been about $317,000 in marijuana sales tax.
Just in Springfield?
Just in Springfield. And it's estimated for the 2024-2025 fiscal year that it will bring in $1.8 million. Now, right now, there are 4 categories where those funds are able to go to.
Okay.
It's public safety, it's mental health services, housing, and substance abuse services. There's quite a few programs that have already gotten some funds from this. One is the jail diversion program, which received about $91,000. There's $150,000 for a virtual real-time crime center, and some money also was laid out for gun violence prevention strategies.
So people are hearing that for the first time, the real-time virtual crime center at Springfield Police Center. What is that?
Yeah.
Or what's that going to be?
Super interesting. It's a virtual center for training for police officers. I don't have too much information about what it's going to look like, except that it will not be a physical location. And Chief Williams actually spoke at the meeting a little bit from the side. It was kind of interesting to get his thoughts. He's been wanting a physical facility like this for about 10 years, and he just has not been able to do it. They're very expensive to put in place. So the virtual center has been a dream of his for about 3 years at this point, and he's hoping the marijuana tax funds will be able to fund that.
Given the pile of yearly revenue for marijuana taxes in Springfield, are there likely to be more requests for that money beyond those categories that you mentioned?
Well, so it's
or that's what it's designated, has to be designated.
Yes,
for. Okay.
Those 4 categories, it has to be designated. Now, how much money goes to each one of those categories and how it all plays out, it's still being decided.
Is that a city council decision?
Yes.
Ultimately?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's ultimately the city finance.
The city finance, okay, all right. And city council looks at it, I'm sure.
And improves it.
All right. Ryan Collins with the Springfield Daily Citizen. You can see Ryan's reports online and on social media from the Springfield Daily Citizen, also as well as this conversation on the KY3 News app, online, also Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV Plus. I got them all this time. Ryan, we'll look forward to next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us.